In this training today, we're going to look at fats and protein and why they are the real game changers in terms of our nutrition and our diets. Fat is not the enemy. We're going to look at why dietary fat is essential for optimal health and performance, why protein is not just for bodybuilders, and why it benefits everyone, regardless of our fitness goals. And if we get these two macros right, it's going to be much easier, regardless of our goals, whether it's trying to lose fat, trying to build muscle, or for gain, or for just having more energy. These are the two most important macronutrients which will transform your results. We'll break down why these matter, how much you really need, and simple foods that you can use to help you meet your macro targets. There's always been a really big misconception that in order to lose fat, we need to eat low fat. It's simply not the case. Losing fat is all down to energy balance, and it is calories in versus calories out at the very highest level. If your fat is too low, this back in the day, in the 70s and 80s and the 90s, it was always low fat, low fat, low fat. Everything you need to buy is low fat. To lose fat, you've got to eat low fat. Problem with that is when you reduce fat from foods, you've got to stuff it full of something else, and the rest of that will be processed sugars, sweeteners, and other fillers. Um, at the end of the day, it's all about calories. So this was the information that we were given years ago. It's now fully understood that this is just not the case at all. Your body actually needs fat for hormones, vitamins, and energy. These are essential functions in your body. And if you don't have enough dietary fat in your diet, then these systems will suffer. If you cut your fat too low or your protein, you will suffer poor mood, poor recovery, and poor results. So this is why if you're seeing people on very, very restrictive diets, especially with the rise of fat loss injections as well, you'll understand why you see a lot of people who feel flat and tired with no energy. So first we'll talk about fat. Fat is absolutely essential for the production of our testosterone, our estrogen, and growth hormone. The body synthesizes these hormones from cholesterols in our diet. Without adequate fat, your hormones will suffer and your body will not function optimally. Fat is also responsible for fat-soluble vitamins. So vitamin A, B, E, and K are all the fat-soluble, whereas vitamin B and C, B vitamins and vitamin C are water-soluble. Everything else relies on fat to be absorbed and digested and utilized in the body. So if you're running low on fat, you are hampering your body's ability to absorb these essential vitamins. It's also extremely important for your brain health, your joints, and longer lasting energy. Your brain is actually 60% fat. Your joints need to be lubricated, and dietary fat provides this and sustained energy without spikes in blood sugar. Protein, as we know, is the big one as far as muscle building is concerned and recovery. We all know protein is broken down into amino acids, which are then rebuilt into different proteins which do different jobs around the body, including rebuilding muscle tissue. Protein is also one of the most satiating food groups, along with fat. Eating protein will keep you fuller for longer. It also triggers the hormones that signal that you're full, which helps it helps the desire to overeat. Protein also has a higher thermic effect. So what this means is, let's say you have a food which has a particular calorie content. Your body will actually use a certain number of calories in order to break down, process, and metabolize that food. And protein has the highest thermic effect, the highest percentage of calories from the food needed to actually break that food down than it does with carbs and fats. A good rule of thumb for estimating your protein target is roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight. Now, I say lean body weight, obviously, we if you're a heavier individual with a lot of body fat, you don't necessarily need to apply this rule. If you weigh 300 pounds, but a lot of that is excess body fat, you don't need to be eating 300 grams of protein. I would typically say that for most people, for most regular sized people, you'd be looking at anything between, for a woman, 100 to 150 grams, and for a man, 150 to 200 grams of protein per day as a very rough guide. Most people tend to eat half of that. I see this when I take on new clients and I get them to track their food for the first couple of weeks. The first big thing, which is the most glaring, is their protein intake is way, way, way below where it could be and where it should be. The next one after that is fat, and for some reason people don't struggle to eat carbs. So looking at sources of healthy fats, we've got a really good one is oily fish, in particular salmon, mackerel, sardines. These are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which are really good for brain and heart health. We've got nuts and seeds. Often people will say, okay, me fat content is really low. How do I get more fat in my diet? I'm already eating as much as I can eat. Nuts and seeds are very calorific and they're very high in healthy fats. You can easily add some seeds or add some nuts to a bowl of Greek yogurt, or you can carry a bag of nuts around with you and just snack on them through the day, and that will really improve your healthy fat content. Avocados, olives, extra virgin olive oil. These can be applied to any of your meals really easily. Whole eggs. Eggs are probably one of the best foods you can have. If you can, like, it's absolutely complete. It has the best protein and amino acid profile you can get, and it's packed with healthy fats as well. So I really recommend, if you're not eating very many eggs now, um, implementing more eggs into your diet is one of the best things you can do, hands down. Also, if you can, opt for full fat dairy, as long as you don't have any issues with dairy products and you're within your calorie goals. So, just a quick reminder, um, really good foods that are going to complement um, good fat intake and protein intake: lean meats and poultry, fish and seafood, eggs and dairy, whey protein or plant protein if you are lactose intolerant. Some good combinations. So if you're looking for meal ideas and you want to know how to get good sources of protein and fats and get your vegetables in, these are really good combinations. Salmon and vegetables, Greek yogurt and nuts, omelets with cheese and spinach, and steak with olive oil and salad. These are really high protein, high fat, and are also going to help get in your micronutrients, your vitamins and minerals as well, without overly increasing your carbs. So if you want to start having a look at this and how to do this, start tracking your food intake. All my clients already track their food intake every day using MyFitnessPal. Track your food intake for 7 days. You will quickly see, if you look at an average across the week, you will see what's missing, where you're short. You can then go into each day and have a look at the individual meals that you've been adding, and then you'll be able to see pretty easily if it's where you're missing, where you're lacking protein from. Is it from your breakfast? Is it from your lunch? Is it from your dinner? Most people tend to lack protein in their breakfast. I think because most people's breakfasts are their smallest meal of the day. They'll maybe have like a small lunch when they're at work and dinner. The dinner when you get home from work is usually the biggest meal of the day. And people just naturally tend to gravitate around, well, if it's the biggest meal of the day, it's already going to have a protein source in. They'll maybe skip that for lunch because they'll eat convenience food like sandwiches, wraps, pasta, bowls, and similarly on a morning, they might just have some toast, they might have cereal, they might have a bowl of Greek yogurt. They don't necessarily think about where they're going to add those protein sources into the earlier meals of the day. So that's something that you need to bear in mind. So just to quickly summarize, we don't need to be afraid of eating fat. Fat is extremely important. What is most important is your overall caloric intake. Obviously, you don't want your fat intake to be too high. The World Health Organization recommends, on average, that your dietary fat content should be anywhere between 20 and 35% of your total food intake for the day. So it's very important not to go below that 20%. Otherwise, you will start to run into problems with your mood, potentially with your hormones, and with vitamin absorption. If you go over the 35%, you are putting yourself in the realm where you are adding so much fat that your body is going to struggle to metabolize it all as effectively, and that is when you could end up with issues of high cholesterol. Prioritize protein for every single meal. So whatever meal you're preparing, think about, where is my protein coming from? So yeah, if you're going to have overnight oats for your breakfast, you're going to have some fruit with it, you're going to have some seeds in it. That's all very well, but where's your protein coming from? You can add some whey protein powder to it. You can have some eggs, but think about what you're going to have with that. Um, with this in mind, with the information that you've got here, it's much more important to be armed and educated on what foods you need to eat and when and why. This is so much more important than just being given a meal plan and following it blindly. You need to know, now we know why protein and fat is important. We know that we need to get it in within every meal to make sure that we're hitting our targets across the week. So again, armed with that knowledge, think about each meal, think about how you're going to prioritize these macros, and then think about carbs last. So a quick wrap up. When you're looking at your meals this week, add one thumb-sized portion of healthy fats. So it could just be like a spoonful of peanut butter or a spoonful of oil, things like that. For protein, think about a palm-sized portion of protein to each meal, or a fist-sized portion of protein to each meal. If you start implementing these changes across all your meals, this will radically improve your overall diet, your mood, and your energy levels. Okay, if you do this every single day for 7 weeks, um, really pay attention to how these changes in your diet affect your overall, how you feel on a day-to-day basis, your energy levels and your mood. Okay, it's really easy to action. There's no gimmicks, and it really will make the difference to how you feel and to your results and your goals.